Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Gengar. So Gengar is one of those pinnacle sweeping Pokemon from the earlier generations where it has almost no defenses and then really good speed and special attack. Now, in later generations, Gengar has kind of dropped off, but generally the idea still stands that, high level of speed, high level of special attack, and then you just become a glass cannon that if you get hit, you KO, so you want to outspeed, out KO your opponent before they touch you first. Now, again, I could talk a lot about how it's actually changed in newer generations, that there are faster Pokemon that hit a little less harder but have way more defensive bulk, or just like some kind of variance between those. Also Pokemon that can get better use off of like Choice Scarf or Choice Band or Choice Specs, like get better use off of Choice items than Gengar and still be a more efficient sweeper overall. But those are later episodes for later Pokemon. Now when we look at the Ghost Poison typing, Gengar actually has a pretty solid defensive typing that, 3 weaknesses, 3 immunities because of that Levitate, giving it immunity to ground, and then 4 resistances. Also, those aren't the most common weaknesses to have, so if it was like a tanky kind of Pokemon, or if this typing was with a tankier Pokemon, it could be a pretty effective typing because with those 3 immunities, you do get a lot of switch-in potential, and you can, if you read your opponent very well, you can get a lot of strength from that. So let's hop over into Pokemon Showdown and figure out how to use Gengar. So with Gengar, you can kind of just go for a timid, all-out special attacker. Getting that timid nature is just to make you the fastest thing. Now, Gengar's speed isn't the best for sweepers. With that 110 base speed, back in 4th generation, it was a lot better. Back in 5th generation, it still had a bit of strength. But now, you get outsped by Greninja really easily. And that's a huge problem right there. But on top of that, anything you outspeed, you're going to have good coverage with, and that 130 special attack, even without the modest investment or special attack in nature, you're looking at still a very strong hit, and Life Orb's going to carry a lot of that damage over. Now what you use Gengar for is just wide amounts of coverage, that between Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Focus Blast, and a Hidden Power if you decide to use it, you can pretty much hit everything neutral and have a ton of super effective hits that you can really use. And with the Life Orb, you're not really worrying about you don't have to worry about that damage you're taking, because if you take almost any damage, you're going to be KO'd because of that low hit points attacks, or special defense and regular defense. So that's like the main, just all-out offensive way to run Gengar. Another way you can run Gengar is still speedy, still timid, with the Focus Sash. You have a good amount of coverage, either just kind of showing the other moves you have, like Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, and also Sludge Wave is going to be available on an event Gengar, so depending on how that goes, you can get it. I think there's another way of getting it, but I couldn't really find it. I don't think it's a move tutor. Can't get it by TM. It might be Dream World, but I'm not completely sure, so it's just safer to say Sludge Bomb. Go with the one that everyone knows Gengar can get that's more legitimate. And after that, you use your coverage, you try to hit hard. Focus Sash is your second breath, and if you know you can't take out your opponent, set up a Destiny Bond. Fun fact about Destiny Bond, if you use Destiny Bond, then they have a priority move to take you out. Destiny Bond works until the next time you attack. So say you see like a Scizor or a Pokemon that you know has priority, you throw out the Destiny Bond, they hit you like an Azumarill, say Waterfall, hit you, and if they go for the Aqua Jet, well then that means they're going to KO themselves on Destiny Bond, which gives you a good chance to set up a Thunderbolt or another hit back on them, or just keep looping them into Destiny Bond until they mess up. So you can play a lot of mind games with Destiny Bond. Somehow though, people have been using Gengar a lot more defensively and a lot more with a lot more tricks up its sleeve, that even though it has almost no defensive value whatsoever, it has a lot of speed, and you can use that for substitute. You can use that to read your opponent. With its tons of immunities, if you can get a good switch in, you can really set up safely that, with that poison typing, you're also immune to toxic. You're also going to be able to wall out a lot of just typing attacks that you can see coming, which means that, safe switch in for Gengar forces a lot of people out, and then you can use Will-O-Wisp, weaken their attack, which means you might actually have a decent chance at surviving a now weakened physical attacker. Set up Substitute, have Shadow Ball for some extra damage chip in, and Disable. So what you do is you set up Substitute, and they're going to probably use the most strong attack against you, which means you disable that, and now they don't really have a lot of options, which means they're forcing a switch out, which means more damage on Will-O-Wisp or Shadow Ball, and then you're healing up from Black Sludge with the Substitute over time. And when you run Substitute, you want to make your hit points divisible by 16, that way you're getting the most out of your heal from Black Sludge and leftovers. Just a little thing right there. Also, that means you can put the rest in the special attack. Since you aren't becoming an all-out special attacker, you don't need to prioritize too hard on it, but it is nice to just have a little bit of special attack, or you can just kind of go with more tankiness if you feel that you need it. So hopefully, you know, all this makes sense so far. And even then, you have a lot of other options on Gengar. That this isn't a moveset, but it's something that you can plug and play with this kind of idea that, you know, you have sub pain split, you can have taunt disable substitute, you can have trick, you know, throw a choice item and then trick your opponent, and now you're ready to set up with some high amount of damage. And then you also have Haze to eliminate stat changes, so you can bring it in, fresh Pokemon, you know, haze in really quick, and then take out a lot of Swords Dance or stat ups. Generally, people are using a lot more Dragon Dance and moves that also boost your speed, so it could fail, but generally, you know, if they're trying to tank up, Haze is a good option that you can carry on Gengar, of all Pokemon. And on top of that, you know, gotta pay my tribute to Uton, one of my favorite PokeTubers of all time. This isn't a set he used, but it's one of the more legendary sets that he got destroyed by, and while that is kind of awkward to bring up, you know, it was kind of the first time I've ever seen a really off-build kind of idea. That it was an adamant sub-punch Gengar, and it just did a lot of destruction that I think... My memory's a bit hazy because Uton left YouTube and kind of took down all of his videos, and this was like 4 years ago, maybe even... It was a long time ago that this strategy came out, but pretty much the idea was you go substitute, 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 proc the Lychee Berry, and now you have like a lot of options where, you know, you can put your opponent to sleep using that Hypnosis. This was back in 4th generation, so Hypnosis had 70% accuracy. I mean, you put your opponent to sleep, set up substitutes, use Focus Punch, you also go the sub-disable combo, and then when Lychee Berry procs, that means your Focus Punch is actually going to have a lot of damage. And it's coming from a Gengar of all things. Now you do get walled out by Ghost on this set, so I believe it also had some kind of, I think it might have even just had like a Shadow Ball or some kind of a special attack. That way you can round it out really well. But it was one of the most interesting, exciting things I've ever seen on Pokemon. So I think it's just like worth a little bit of respect. You know, Sub Punch as a strategy in its own is very strong. And with all the different many ways you can run Gengar, you know, a lot of plug and play options, a lot of coverage options that you have here. It's just cool to see what Gengar can do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's how you use Gengar.